Marvel fans, the idea of Tom Cruise as an Iron Man variant in the Multiverse of Madness is a long-standing rumor and one that I've been quite fond of.
I'm so happy!
But the most recent developments with regards to this rumor are quite interesting. Is it possible that Tom Cruise is playing an Obadiah Stane Ironmonger variant in the Multiverse of Madness? That's what we're going over in this video. Let's get into it. What's up, everybody? It's Josh, and man, is it a beautiful day here in Dark Avengers Tower. Oh, baby, am I excited to be getting into this one today. Many of you guys already know this, but the Tom Cruise Iron Man variant rumor is one of my absolute favorites for Multiverse of Madness. And in this video, we're going to break down how that has developed over time, the sort of roller coaster ride we've been on, where we're like, oh, it's probably not going to happen. Oh, wait, it is going to happen. Wait, now it's happening in this version?
What are you doing?
But at the end of this video, I also want to talk to you about how I think this character could last past Multiverse of Madness and actually be a very important character for the coming Secret Wars event. Oh, and I should say, slight spoiler warning, I guess, for things that might happen in Multiverse of Madness. I mean, at this point, we have a lot of leaks, we got a lot of rumors, but we're going to do plenty of speculating as well, because this film particularly feels different.
It's art.
Feels like Feige's doing a lot to try to hide the spoilers for what will actually take place in this film. We're going to cover what that means as well. Now, the tale of Tom Cruise Iron Man is a rumor that dates way back to 2020, maybe even a little bit in 2019. And it did originate from one of the best scoopers in the game, Daniel RPK. At the time, it was simply reported that Marvel was floating this idea around and that they were quite interested in getting Tom Cruise as a Tony Stark variant for the MCU. And until recently, we thought this would show up in one way, shape, or another in the Multiverse of Madness. Now, as we got a little bit closer, we started to hear these rumors of the Illuminati and that being a big deal in Multiverse of Madness. Many of us just thought, oh wow, wouldn't it be crazy if that Tom Cruise Iron Man variant was a member of the Illuminati? However, more recently, some cold water was thrown onto this rumor, as many insiders reported that the most recent version of this film, which was screened after the extensive reshoots last year, did not have Tom Cruise in the movie. And on top of that, many insiders were also claiming there's no Iron Man variant in this movie either. At this point, there are a couple of rumors that have a similar status, like Hugh Jackman Wolverine, right? Like, this was something we thought was definitely going to be in Multiverse of Madness. It's not in the most recent cut, and a lot of people are saying it's not actually happening in the movie. And so I was kind of reserved to think of this as a cool possibility that just didn't work out for whatever reason, and then out of nowhere, some hope started to emerge. First up, out of nowhere, Grace Randolph started talking about on Twitter that she had heard that Tom Cruise was going to be coming to the MCU. Now, she also said right away that he's likely not coming as an Iron Man variant, but that he will be coming to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Then another scooper, My Time to Shine Hello, shared a huge list of big cameos that were going to be happening in Multiverse of Madness, but she strangely put Iron something variant, and then later she actually just tweeted Ironmonger out of nowhere. And I'll admit, I thought about this for a hot second where I was like, wow, what if Tom Cruise is actually playing a variant of Obadiah Stane and he's Ironmonger in Multiverse of Madness? But I pretty quickly let that go. I was like, I don't know about that. And there were even some people claiming that maybe when My Time to Shine Hello tweeted Ironmonger, they were actually referring to events that will take place in the Armor Wars Disney Plus series. But then Grace Randolph did a whole lengthy video talking about how she was fairly confident that Tom Cruise would be playing Ironmonger as a variant in Multiverse of Madness. But let's be clear about a couple of things. In that video, which I do recommend you go check out for yourself, Grace first mentions that she's 99.9% certain that Tom Cruise is going to be coming to the MCU, but she doesn't know exactly when or where he will show up. She also says that Tom Cruise is not in the current cut of Multiverse of Madness, but she alludes to the possibility of Tom Cruise being filmed in secret and being added to the movie even after the screenings that people have seen. And I want to stop for just a second and really emphasize this point, because it's something I've been talking about in different streams and videos, but something that I absolutely think Marvel might be pulling off with Multiverse of Madness, and that is that they are hiding things from even the screenings that they are showing to different audiences. And I don't know that to be 100% happening, but Grace keeps hinting at it, and I keep seeing some weird conflicting reports from a lot of the different scoopers and insiders that I follow, and it makes me believe that Marvel is filming stuff, having it be seen out there from audiences, and then they secretly have plans to sort of replace some of the characters that are in that actual cut they showed with characters that they're secretly filming. Look, I know I just said secret a lot, character, filmy things, but just kind of go with me on this. Now, back to Grace's video and the report. I also found it really interesting that she thinks Robert Downey Jr. will come back to the MCU, and this could possibly be why they didn't want an actual Tony Stark variant to be played by anybody else in this movie or in the multiverse. She also mentions that Chris Evans has signed a contract to come back to the MCU in some way, shape, or form. A very interesting fact that not a lot of people talk about. And at the very end of her video, she talks about how Tom Cruise as Ironmonger could be used to set up the Dark Avengers. Now, hold on to your freaking butts out there, Marvel fans, because I'm about to tie all of this together in a way that I think will blow your freaking minds. I also think that Robert Downey Jr. will return to the MCU, and I think it will happen at the Secret Wars movie. I've been talking about the Secret Wars movie for a long time. I'm pretty dang certain it is an inevitable event that will eclipse Infinity War and Endgame, and it'll be the next big thing that Marvel Studios does. And My Time to Shine Hello has said some weird things about Secret Wars, like the fact that Hugh Jackman is not up for returning to the Wolverine role just yet, but he could come back for Secret Wars. She mentioned that Tobey and Andrew Garfield are likely going to be coming back for Secret Wars. And if everything is really headed towards Secret Wars, it would be uniquely poetic for Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man to come back and to have him face off against a different group of Avengers, the Dark Avengers, led by not an evil variant of himself, but by a variant of the man who was the main villain of his very first movie, Obadiah Stane. Even though I don't talk a lot about Dark Avengers anymore these days, it was one of the things I would not let go in 2019 and 2020. And part of the reason was because Charles Murphy originally broke a crazy story about how they were absolutely doing a Dark Avengers movie. They commissioned a script all the way back in 2018 for the Dark Avengers. But along with that scoop were a lot of rumors and buzz that the version of Dark Avengers we would get in the MCU is going to be very different than what you got in Marvel Comics, and the kind of more traditional version of the Dark Avengers is likely going to be what they do with the Thunderbolts in the MCU. And there were rumors back then that the Dark Avengers we would meet in the MCU would be a multiversal version of these characters, that we would see a sort of dark version of Avengers from the multiverse that would end up being a major threat to the Avengers of our universe. And this was weirdly talked about at the time when things like Hydra, Cap, and Clea were also talked about as big threats that would be going on in the multiverse. And on top of that, one of the OG plot leaks for Multiverse of Madness mentions 5 distinct universes remaining in the canon after the Multiverse of Madness, and it kind of hints that all of these different universes would play a major role moving forward in the MCU. And so what if Kevin Feige is setting up different teams from throughout the multiverse that will all come to fight each other or have some kind of a conflict on Battleworld, and possibly even in the lead up to the Secret Wars movie as the multiverse collapses? After all, one of the fun things that happened on Battleworld was different versions of comic book teams being distinctly unique to different regions on the big Battleworld planet. Oh, and by the way, I ran this crazy theory and set of questions to the master scooper himself, Daniel Rickman, and he said, maybe, which I said I would take as a confirmation, and I also called him Kevin Feige, which he always laughs at. Let me know what you think about these new reports and my crazy theory in the comment section below. Like this video if you like, to subscribe to our channel to see more of our content pop up in your recommended feed, and go check out our live streaming channel where we hang out all the time. You can come on by, ask me some questions about this theory or other reports in real time. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.